everyone, it's Jambor's new video, and in this video it will be a podcast. I will talk about the last things I've heard of Eurovision from Eurotrip podcast. Brilliant work after all, guys, really love it, very professional, amazing and inspirational. But also about the facts what were said there, especially of what the rules are kind of bending the Eurovision, or the principles bending Eurovision to more show-like than more contest-wise. And I will stress it out because, of course, I heard Christer Björkman. I will talk a little bit about it also, but I want to somehow make this premise if artist is going to be more for entertainers or more for artists. And I, of course, see it's shifting the way more for entertainers than the proper artists. And now, of course, all of them might be artists, but not all of them are doing this just pure entertainment. The thing is that what I see now, especially with those rules of producers' choices and so on, they are basically very commercial producers thinking. They forgot about the competing factors. They basically stressing out that let's make the show for most interested for public somehow, whatever it means in the terms of quality building, different various genres and so on. But this, of course, those producers' touches are breaking, in my opinion, a little bit completely the competing character of what Eurovision should be, a competition, because it's now becoming more and more step more as a show. Nothing wrong against show, but it's a competition to be like a regular show to entertain you for a night, but it's postponing a little bit of this competing character. I was talking about this in my series What If podcast in a little bit more detail, but there are a few topics. First of all, if jury should come back to semifinals. Some producer says it doesn't really matter. Countries will do whatever they do. Public will choose something. It will go to the finals. I'm telling that yes, I kind of agree. The issue with this in the wider picture is that the quality of the songs will be sliding down, because they will be prepared just for Eurovision, to succeed at Eurovision, to get to those finals, because there is the biggest exposure. Then you will slowly basically taking some kind of artists out of the competition to put the ones which will be more entertainers. Then means more entertaining songs only. And of course this is killing the competing character, but it's maybe not killing the competing character at Eurovision itself, but more likely in the wider picture. Why should some artists really go to Eurovision if this is not their kind of a thing, It's doing exactly basically the opposite. It's making it for lesser number of artists who would like to participate in general, and also the quality suffers, and also the public, need of watching more about Eurovision in advance and listen to those songs in advance is getting lower, because they just want to be entertained for one night, right? I'm a producer who was producing, for example, Strictly Come Dancing in Czechia, also partly in Slovakia. One Czechia for public broadcaster, in Slovakia for the commercial TV. Different kind of producers, different kind of thinking. In Czechia, Strictly Come Dancing is about a competition. This is the main factor of the show. It's like a real competition with celebrities and entertainment and so on, but the biggest focus is the competition itself. In Slovakia, it's more about the show. You can tell the difference of the viewership. Czechia, 50% of share, Slovakia around 30-25. Both amazing, but 50 versus 35 or 30, this is a little bit huge. It's a huge difference, because you must feel this show factor. You must feel this competitive factor, because competition, after all, it's the biggest value of it. This is the most entertaining part of it. And some producers will tell you, but it's very important how we structure the show, not to have so boring, let's say, only ballads in a row, because no one will be watching it. But watching who? I think Eurovision in general, and I'm almost sure about it, is watched for competition itself. Who will win? Who is there? Most of the people don't know anything about the songs anyway. before the contest. So they don't know what to expect the next time and next time and next time and the after one. So for them, if you create a perfect program, it kind of doesn't really matter. I think this is more for the show which is made domestically, where everybody knows everything kind of, and you can create this harmonogram. But when all the Europe is watching, no one knows what's from Czechia, what the Netherlands is doing, what Austria is doing, what Serbia is doing. They will find out at Eurovision. So in my opinion, there the running order really doesn't matter from the show perspective, because it's a show anyway. It will surprise you all the time. No one will go switch the program because it's boring, because everybody waiting for this event. And in my opinion, much more vital would be if we put this as a draw, random draw. Every country will draw its exact position in the semi-final and also exact position in the finals. It will make it much more interesting, because now it's in the hands of somebody who will choose where you go and basically a little bit predetermine your fate, or at least by feeling. Like, you can tell that if you're starting the show first, second, third, fourth, you have a little bit lesser chance, unless you're coming from a huge country with a huge diaspora and so on, which might support, for example, like Ukraine last year. But maybe it also this costs Ukraine better placing, because many people are warming up, you know. If you draw it, you cannot blame anybody. And then the show could be better if this is like, who knows? Like, who knows this? This is if some producer tells you this will be better this way, no, it's because we know. Like, for example, if we are doing it just for Eurovision community, this would make sense, because you make it for the people who already know all the songs, and you will make the dramaturgy the way that it would work better for everybody to really have this line of entertainment. But in my opinion, you have different instruments at Eurovision. First of all, you have interval acts, you have special numbers and so on, which I think producers should focus at. But where the countries are drawn doesn't really matter. And you can argument, but the complicated staging, something. But okay, for this, you have scriptwriters. If you know that there are 5 complicated staging in a row, you will create a program the way that you can really manage to do it, and then you will save time somewhere else. It's a trade-off, you know. But it will create a competitive thing. But what I see, there are part of people, and I am glad that the voices are a little bit risen up. They want this competitive action back, to make Eurovision competitive, because, you know, with competition comes more quality, more drama, and more uncertainty, kind of who it will be, what position, what if the favorite will draw the second place in the final. Oh my god, you know, can this person make it? Can they make it? Like, it would be drastic, but it would be fair. And it would also challenge it. It would be challenging. It would push everybody to their limits. Now, it's more about entertainment, I would say. And I see this shifting a little bit more even into it. And that's why I think countries are complaining, for example, about budgets for stagings and so on. Because, of course, when the worst artists are coming in, their only chance to shine is to show something spectacular. Basically, to put your attention into something else than the music itself. Even though it's not really working that way completely, it works, because this is it. With competition, but it will work anyway. But I think some countries, they are just targeting the budget. They cannot afford to do these spectacular things. Of course, they don't need it. I think this is an excuse for creativity a little bit. But on the other hand, I a little bit understand them, because if many countries are going this way and invest more even into the artists who would, in like competitive years, wouldn't have stand a chance even with crazy stagings, they cannot afford such a thing to invest there. Of course, they need to then support their creativity, find a way how to use lights, how to use camera angles, how to use this kind of entertainment part to make their act stand out. But of course, then if you put somebody from the ceiling with the fireworks and so on, might be a bigger thing for some kind of audience entertainment part. But then, with this effect, you will even lose more and more artists for which this kind of show is not made, because they are not those kind of showmen. And I'm not saying, because if this goes the opposite extreme, if there's only those big artistic things, let's say, complicated somehow, that will be boring. But I think there must be some kind of balance. And balance is not go by money. I was also doing a podcast about it, that if you put like certain budgeting on countries, in different countries, the same budget means completely different value, you know. 500,000 euros in Sweden is completely different 500,000 euros in than in Czechia, you know, because the workers, the people who are working on stagings, there are huge differences in salaries, for example. So it wouldn't be also fair, and I think there shouldn't be any kind of limit of this or something. But what should be limited is the producer's power to manipulate the shows. It should be also come back, should be like they really should think about coming back of competitive character of Eurovision, because otherwise the Eurovision will become just any other show, and this might be nice for a few nights, but I think the bigger goal for Eurovision is to spread European music, the best artists, to showcase them, to show their artistry in completely various genre, not if they can do better firework. Because I think this is not important. We are not the US. In US, of course, those are important characters. Who has the bigger show is the thing there. But our culture is different. Like, even if we can say European culture exists, we are various different countries. For example, diversity in Europe comes automatically. You know, it's not about languages. It is, but it comes. Every country has their own culture, basically. You know, and this comes automatically when it's put in. So it's not the issue, in my opinion. The issue would be if we set a trend of being just a show. Then it will be about who will do a bigger, crazier stuff on stage, of having more controversial song and so on, more likely than bigger quality. And if we put this competitive character back and take the power of producers out a little bit, and it would be better. Now, of course, now I'm talking a little bit of Christoph Björkman, and I need you to understand this, because there's so much hate on this guy, but I understand his point of view. First of all, he brings some point of view. It's a vision which you agree or you don't agree with. This is brilliant, but he's the only voice, basically, which is heard out of all the producers, who speaks out loud, who says, I would like to be the show this way because I believe in this. And it's fine by me. This, I don't agree with it at all. It's completely opposite what I would say, but I understand a vision, you know. This is some kind of constant saying this, fine. And there are people who likes it and voting for it, because on the other hand, he has not such power to go and say like, we will do producer's choice everywhere. No, he comes with the elaborate or idea or something, vision, and to the right committees, he will say, I really would like to do this. It would help the show this and this and this way, regardless if you agree with it or not. And they will say yes to it or not. They are the responsible ones who say yes or not to this. And of course, I think I don't hear out loud like voices like mine who says this is not right for Eurovision. This is not right for smaller countries. This is not right for their markets, for motivation. Because, you know, some people are thinking just about the show, but they completely forget about the work behind it, what it leads to find the artist for Eurovision, or more if you do national selections or internal, but more artists to want to go to Eurovision and then pick one and send it there and be a motivational. And then when that artist says like, it's pity that we cannot afford this and that, even those claims already killing the chances that you will grab more artists for the next Eurovision, or it might. And producers who thinks only about the show, they really don't think in the bigger picture, in the context of each and single country, because in some countries the money is not issue, in some countries money is a huge issue, and also then there are producers issue a little bit, that of course not every producer and every head of delegation is a creative, and they see it differently than creatives. Because for me, some limitation, it's an opportunity. Actually, I know that where is my limit, and for this I can create the idea, which works amazingly well, because after all, at Eurovision, what you have in the budget are lights, cameras. With just those two things, you can do absolute wonders. You don't need kind of anything else. But of course, if you want and you cannot afford, and you think that this would be better somehow, you feel like something is unfair, which is not true in my opinion. It's a limitation. The limitation, like this is a story also, you know. If the David can beat the Goliath, kind of. This is always fine, but it's not fine when you put in this combination some arbiter who decides who deserves better than the other. And it doesn't matter if it's just for the sake of the show. It still tells you this worth better to be at the end to create this peak, and something will be in the middle. it's not fair, because this creates this balance. And I think what Eurovision and Eurovision producers should really talk about and work for is the balance itself, to find the best way how to balance the show, bring juries back into the semifinals. But maybe they might be corrupted or not right, or maybe we don't agree with them. Okay, so let's see what is the bigger issue. Would it help Eurovision to reform the jury system to be even more not competitive, but more agreeable, more transparent somehow, or stronger? Every step you do in such case creates a marketing, and people question it, and of course those artists are questioning it if it's fair or not. All those even comments that you need a psychiatrist or psychologist after Eurovision, they're not helping the brand. All of this must be stressed out. For example, like when I'm just jumping to this topic, I think all the artists should say, like, but you're representing the country on the biggest contest. Now you're the representative. You're base like footballers. You're the footballer in the national team. Of course, if they don't play good, they are under the pressure. But pressure is part of this. And Eurovision is extremely inclusive and extremely nice on artists. And you might say, like, it's not. But, I'm from the industry, television and music industry. This industry and this business, it's much harder and much hardcore than any Eurovision. No one will be that nice on the artists like at Eurovision. They need to compete every day to succeed. They need to do it. They need to have this kind of pressure, and actually to go through Eurovision kind of pressure. It's amazing thing to get even better. And it cannot be without pressure, and it shouldn't be without pressure, because after all, those people represent you, me. They had the flag, and we say that it's just a Eurovision. It's a representation. It's countries are paying for getting there. They're investing a lot of money, public money, for this representation. So it's not just I'm going there to sing, to enjoy. No, this is not just it. It's not just it, and it shouldn't be just it. That is just a show, because if it just becomes an entertainment show, I think the Eurovision will completely lose its spirit. It's nice to do such a thing in the national selection where the producer is a boss. Don't forget about democracy and something like this. There should be a structure, really a structure of who's responsible for what. There should be discussion, but then there must be somebody who said we will do it like that. Eurovision is a little bit different organ. There is a lot of democracy, which makes the changes slower, but sometimes when they choose to do a wrong choice, it also takes much more time to repair it and make it better. Even more, because it's harder to create a profit, harder to create a brand name, the value, much easier to kill it. This is easier. And this is what's going on. This is why many producers already nowadays are talking about some rules are actually damaging the Eurovision in the wider picture. Because some producers who are just creating the show, they completely forgot about the process that you need to find those people. And smaller and smaller and smaller the bucket you create of the artists you can pick, worse and worse artists you will kind of get. Because you will get only the ones who are not afraid to do some crazy stuff. But this is not what you all the time want. You basically reduce the competition even in the domestic market, and then you have nothing to offer. It's extremely hard, and I know that for you it feels like easy. You go to the artists, say Eurovision, and they go. But it doesn't work this way, and this is why it's extremely important that the producers in domestic markets are doing amazing job to find the best, to create the best vision for their own market, for their own Eurovision journey, and so on. But also Eurovision needs to be the one pedestal. But if artists will see it, and now I can also see producers are seeing it only as a entertaining program, then it's wrong, because it's much more than just pure entertainment. And I would be really, and I hope that even people who are having the power now to choose to make changes, to listen to this, and having this argumentation, because argumentation is the most important, and also to come to the committees and come with a different vision. And I would go, and it's not conservativeness, it's more about like why from the competition we are doing simply just entertainment. We are not the US. We want this competition to be fair, to be really a competition, because that brings the best story, that brings the best authenticity, that brings the best topics. If it's just entertainment, it will become completely untrustable project. And if it's in one man's hand, such very crucial decisions, it doesn't matter if it's Kristen or somebody else, producers, it's not fair. It's already a thing which makes it more commercial entertainment show than actually public broadcasting competitive contest. And I think we are completely forgetting that it's Eurovision Song Contest. I think we forgot, because we are saying Eurovision, right? That it's Eurovision Song Contest. And this contest word is the most important part of the whole thing, in my opinion, because with the competition, with clashing like this, we are able to do even better every single year. And wider spread, we are better for the Eurovision, better for all the domestic markets, and better for all the professionals who are involved in the process, because they can learn so much variety of songs instead of being like, let's create the craziest staging ever because this is how we will get to the finals, or this is what we need to do and we will get the better position in the running order, which already feels unfair, right? So this is what I think. I don't think we need to completely stretch this entertainment part out, definitely not. But with this approach, we are pushing the artistry part out, and then we are losing balance. And balance is the most important part of it, and to searching for it is the most important part of it, and those discussions are extremely essential for progress. If we will just listen to something, or if we will just cry of something, we will not change it. So I think there are many people who can do the change, and they should work on it hard, and stay behind this, because some ideas needs a strong opposition, and they need a strong argumentation also. So I hope I give you some bullets. I also hope that for Eurovision fans like you, I gave you some more wider ideas how things are not uncomplicated, but also maybe a little bit more complicated than you think, and that those things needs to be talked out in a proper discussion. And that's it. If you want to support me, become members, subscribe to the channel, like the video, give me a super like, buy me a coffee. All of it would help, but definitely comments in the comments below. What do you think? I hope you finish it until here, because I can see it has over 20 minutes somehow, so a long one, but I think I could talk about this hours, because this is important, the most important topic, which actually it's also a discussion which just overcomes Eurovision. It comes also to domestic markets and the quality of the shows, and we see everything is rapidly going down because the show must go on, kind of, but we're forgetting about some elements which are making the show more attractive, and we shouldn't. So that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.